Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Jessica. I make videos about the Walt Disney Company and whatever else may be going on in my life at the time that's exciting. It's super awesome to have you here. Alright, so it is time to dive into the second half of Adam and my honeymoon adventure. If you haven't checked out the last video I uploaded where I talk about Adam and my Disney cruise, which was the first half of our honeymoon, highly recommend you check out that first. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below, and that'll get you all caught up for where we are now. Alright, so when I left off, we were on the Disney Cruise Line bus heading back to Walt Disney World. Adam and I intentionally booked a room at Coronado Springs for one night so that we would be able to take the Disney Cruise Line transportation to Coronado Springs and then take Disney's Magical Express to the airport the following day to head to Disneyland. When we pulled up to Coronado on the cruise shuttle, it was our first time seeing Gran Destino fully in person. It's so gorgeous inside the tower and it smells absolutely amazing, and they have the coolest elevator where you pick which floor you want to go to on the outside and there's no buttons on the inside of the elevator. It was so awesome. Our room wasn't quite ready yet, so we headed to go find some breakfast. We went to the Mercado and got some breakfast and just kind of hung out for a little bit while we waited for our room to be ready. After about 2 hours, our room still wasn't ready. Even though it was early, we had said we were going to be there super early, so we thought we would go check in and see maybe if it would be ready soon or what the case was. The cast member at the desk was so nice. She realized we were on our honeymoon and upgraded us to a lake view room and said it would be ready right then and gave us our iridescent 50th anniversary room keys, which was so exciting. We didn't stay in Gran Destino. We were in one of the other buildings, but the rooms are still so gorgeous. One of the nicest Disney resort rooms I've stayed in. It was so modern and beautiful, and we really loved it in there. We placed an Uber Eats delivery for some lunch to be delivered to Coronado. We ate our food in the Gran Destino lobby because our friend Sam was coming to visit us at Coronado. So our friends Sam and Joey are from Pittsburgh, and they were in town because Joey was in Orlando for a work assignment. So they had actually also been here for our wedding, and they ended up just staying for his work assignment, and Sam had some time to come hang out with us for a little bit, so she came and joined us at the hotel and we got to just talk and catch up. So we were waiting in the lobby until she showed up so that we could help guide her to our room. A little later in the evening, her husband Joey came and joined us as well, and we went and had dinner at the Three Bridges bar in Coronado Springs, which was really awesome. I loved it there. After that, we went back to our room and watched Muppets Haunted Mansion. After Muppets Haunted Mansion, we said our goodbyes to Sam and Joey, and they headed back to their hotel. And then Adam took a shower and I did my pre-Disneyland tradition, which is to watch the Disneyland Fun Songs, Sing-Along Songs video on YouTube and get ready for my trip. If you are unfamiliar with Disneyland Fun Songs, get acquainted. It is so good. It is so 90s and I'm obsessed with it. It was my first introduction to Disneyland, and I remember watching it from my earliest years. After Adam got out of the shower, we watched some Family Guy and then fell asleep ready for our Disneyland day the following day. The next morning I woke up pretty early. I made myself some coffee with the Keurig in the room and watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on TV. And then I got Adam up and we got ready to go head to catch the Magical Express to the airport. Magical Express was definitely not as exciting or magical as I always expected it would be. The bus that we got on was not even a Magical Express bus. Like, it didn't have the blue pretty font with all the characters on it, so that kind of sucked. It was just like a plain bus, but it still had the Magical Express video, so I was excited to get to see that. And I was just happy that I got to have the experience of doing Magical Express, so that was cool. Once we got to MCO, we got off the bus and handled everything we needed to for our checked bag, and then we went to our gate. We got some snacks and just hung out and waited for our flight. Adam and I are really big JetBlue fans. We fly it whenever we can. One of the main reasons that I love JetBlue so much is their snack selection, because not only do they have a great selection of free snacks, they also have really good for purchase snacks as well. I also love JetBlue because of the entertainment. This is not a JetBlue ad. I'm just obsessed with JetBlue. JetBlue always has the best entertainment. I watched The Office for most of the flight, and then I watched SpongeBob for the rest of the flight. And I always watch SpongeBob on JetBlue flights. It is a tradition. It's always on when I fly JetBlue, and so I always end up watching at least one episode while I'm in the air, and it's great. We got off the plane, went to baggage claim and picked up our checked bag, and then headed to the Uber area to get our Uber to Disneyland. This was Adam and my third trip to Disneyland, but we had never stayed on property at Disneyland before. Getting dropped off at the Disneyland Hotel was just really surreal that that was actually where we were going to be staying, and Just like so many moments on this trip, it was just a dream come true and such a bucket list moment. The lovely cast members at the check-in desk were so nice to us. They gave us our celebrating buttons and were just very conversational and lovely. Our room was in the Adventure Tower on the 4th floor and overlooked the pool and Trader Sam's, which, as a huge Trader Sam's stan, there was no better place for me to be. When you walk into the rooms at the Disneyland Hotel, the carpet is all fireworks, which, again, fireworks stand #1 here, so that was really awesome. And then you have the beautiful sparkly headboard that plays A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes, with Sleeping Beauty Castle and fireworks exploding over it that light up, which is amazing and so awesome, and I played it like 600 times while we were staying there. It was great. Once we got all settled in and got our bags and stuff put away, we left the room and headed to our dinner reservation at Grand Californian at the GCH Craftsman Grill. It is so wild to me that we were able to leave Disneyland Hotel, walk straight through downtown Disney, and be at Grand Californian in a matter of minutes. It is just so simple and so easy. I did not love the food at the GCH Craftsman Grill, neither did Adam. It was really the only thing we could get a reservation for that had like vegan options and stuff for Adam. So we went there. It wasn't anything to write home about, but they did have a pumpkin hard cider, which was very festive and was quite good. So I did appreciate that. And it was still nice to be at Grand Californian for any reason. So still an enjoyable dinner. After dinner, we had a reservation at Trader Sam's. I had a drink that we don't have back home. It was called the Piranha Pool. It was frozen and blue and very yummy. And Adam had a mosquito mojito. We were also introduced to the fried long beans. I have not loved an appetizer so much since fried pickles. I think they might even be my favorite food item in the entire Disneyland resort, which is pretty crazy. Our bartender also made sure to alert the entire establishment that Adam and I were on our honeymoon, and everyone clapped and celebrated for us, which was really magical and lovely. Eventually, after a while at Trader Sam's, we made our way back up to our room. I organized some of our luggage and some of our clothes and stuff, and then we got ready for the next day and fell asleep. The next morning, we woke up and had breakfast at Tangaroa Terrace? I don't know if I said that right. I was struggling with it the whole trip, but we had breakfast there and it was really awesome. I liked it there. They had an acai chia bowl and it was so delicious. I could have that for breakfast every single day. It was so good. It was also just so magical to be on a real Disneyland vacation, to wake up in a Disneyland room and to come downstairs and be at Disneyland already was just really awesome and wonderful. After breakfast, we went and walked around some of the gift shops around the hotel and looked at different merchandise. After shopping, we went back to the room to hang out for a little bit before going to Trader Sam's for lunch. Since we had already sat inside at Trader Sam's the night before, we sat outside on the patio for lunch, so it was a little more peaceful and it was a really good experience as well. I got the long beans for lunch again because they were that good. Our time at Trader Sam's took a little longer than expected, so we had to kind of rush back up to the room and change and get ready for our first ever Oogie Boogie Bash, and I was so excited. Adam was so excited. We could not wait to get over to DCA. We got to DCA right as soon as we could, so the Oogie Boogie Bash ticket let us get into the park at 3 p.m., so we were lined up outside at like 2:45 and made it in very shortly after 3. The lines were pretty long to get in. We didn't have costumes, so as soon as we got in, we wasted no time going to shop around and find the Oogie Boogie Spirit jerseys, and Adam and I got matching Oogie Boogie Spirit jerseys and immediately went to go change into them. While I'm not a Nightmare Before Christmas fan at all, I really do love the Spirit jerseys. I think they're super cute, and since it was Oogie Boogie Bash, even though the Spirit jerseys aren't Oogie Boogie Bash merch, I still thought they were fitting and a good souvenir from the event. So once we were in our new Spirit jerseys, we had some time to kill before the party actually started, so we went and saw Filler Magic, which featured the new Coco scene, which we hadn't seen yet, so that was really exciting. I was really nervous about it because I love Filler Magic. It's one of my favorite Disney attractions, and I was really concerned they were going to cut out one of the classic scenes. I was so happy to see that they just managed to make very small incremental changes to be able to insert the Coco scene without disrupting the flow of the show and keeping all the original scenes intact. So super well done. I really enjoyed it. All of the animation looks so good. It looks so crisp and so modern. So absolutely phenomenal job. We love the new Filler Magic. We had also never done Filler Magic at California Adventure before, so that was our first time in that theater, and that was pretty cool also. We took this time to walk around Avengers Campus and explore there a little bit before we actually got started with the party. Adam got shawarma, which is not my thing, but it became an obsession of his on this trip, and he had it several more times because they have an Impossible shawarma, which was really great for him. We also ate at Pims Test Kitchen, and I was supremely disappointed. It was not good. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I have no intention of ever eating there again. I really didn't like it. My Impossible meatballs were so chewy and I felt like just not well seasoned. Everything was a little cold. The pasta was so like chewy and not well cooked. I know it's quick service, but it was so bad. I barely ate any of it. I will never get food there again unless they change the menu. But after we got done with dinner, we headed back out into Avengers Campus and we saw Thor and Loki hanging out, which was really cool. Avengers Campus is small, but it really is well done, and it was so exciting to see it all in person. Since we were already in Avengers Campus and the party was about to start, we went ahead and queued up for the Agatha treat trail. I was instantly impressed with this party because I knew that Agatha was one of the hottest treat trails that everybody wanted to go see, and the line was very long, but it moved so quickly, yet we still got plenty of time to actually see Agatha. We weren't being rushed, and I was instantly in love with the way this party was being ran and how different it was from Mickey's Not So Scary. Agatha was incredible. We were right up at the front, so we really got to interact with her. Her and I booed Wanda together, which, I mean, I would never boo Wanda, but it was an experience, and you know, I can say I booed Wanda with Agatha, so that's pretty cool. She also told Adam and I that we picked the scariest costumes of all, being ourselves, so boom roasted, I guess. After hanging out with Agatha, we went to Dr. Facilier's treat trail, which was also amazing because we had never encountered him before, so it was so cool to see him in person. What happened next, though, was truly serendipitous. Hades and Megara walked out. Adam loves Hercules. It's his favorite Disney movie, and he is obsessed with Hades. It's his favorite villain. And this was a moment that has been years and years in the making. I told Hades that he was Adam's absolute favorite, and he did like a cute gesture to Adam, and it was just a really cool moment that was worth the price of the Oogie Boogie admission itself. We did what I believe is my favorite part of the evening, and that was Villain's Grove. If you don't know what Villain's Grove is, they turn the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail into this very spooky, mystical, dream-like walk-through exhibit, for lack of a better word, and it was so cool. I could have been there all night. It was amazing. Then we moved on to Pixar Pier and we got to see Sid. Seeing Sid as a face character was so crazy. I can't believe they did this. He was so funny. Like, he was so annoying, truly, but it was so spot on and so great, and just they did such a good job. As a big Toy Story fan, it was really cool to see. He also had the baby doll head spider contraption, and just seeing that in person as a real thing was so wild. It was so creepy, but so cool. And then we headed to Radiator Springs, our absolute favorite spot on Disneyland property. The lighting in Radiator Springs looks absolutely amazing for Halloween. They did such a great job. And honestly, Halloween or not, just being back in Radiator Springs was blissful and wonderful. Our last treat trail of the night was to go see Oogie Boogie, because I mean, after all, it was his party. It would be rude not to see the host, right? So we went to Oogie Boogie's trail, which was really awesome. And I had also never seen Oogie Boogie in person, so it was really cool to encounter him as well. We got a spot for the parade on a bench right along the parade route. Can you believe? What a time to be alive. The parade was really great. I was a little disappointed they didn't use Boo to You. I think I just assumed they would. I did not love their Halloween song as much, but it was still good. Once the parade was over, we beelined to Web Slingers, and we were able to ride it via the standby line without having to worry about getting a virtual queue. So that was a really big thing for us. We really wanted to make sure we rode it, and we were scared we'd miss the virtual queue the following day. So we sacrificed a little bit of our party time to go do that. We only waited 30 minutes to ride it too, which wasn't bad, and I won, so you love to see it. After we got off of Web Slingers, the party was over, so Adam and I walked back to the hotel. Again, crazy, we walked back to our hotel just casually, and we could not stop talking about how much fun the party was and how iconic it was and how we can't wait to go back. And then we ate some candy in bed and passed out. The next morning, despite a late night at California Adventure, I woke up at 6:55 a.m. to try and secure a spot in the virtual queue for Web Slingers because we wanted to do it again. And I did it. I secured it right at 7 a.m. I got us in a boarding group, and I was so proud. Thank you so much to Rise of the Resistance here at home for all of the times that I've had to try and secure a boarding group for that. I've gotten so much practice in. I'm very proud. One of the great things about staying at a Disneyland hotel was we were able to wait until our boarding group was called to actually head over to California Adventure. So that was pretty cool. So we kind of slowly started getting up and getting ready. And then at 9:45, when our boarding group was called, we just walked right over to California Adventure and made it over in time for us to get on the ride, which was great. So we made it onto Web Slingers, and when we were almost to the end, the ride broke down. The huge benefit here is that they just let us get on again because we didn't get to finish the whole ride. So we technically got to ride Web Slingers 3 times because we were really almost to the end when it broke down. So that was awesome. And then we hung out on the pier because we had lunch reservations at Lamplight Lounge. So we really didn't have time to go on another ride because the waits were long and we had to make this reservation. So we just kind of went and hung out by Lamplight Lounge until it was time for our table. Lamplight Lounge was good. It's not my favorite restaurant that I've ever been to on Disney property, but it is probably one of my favorites at Disneyland. I don't have a lot of favorite Disneyland restaurants. The food was really good, and we had a seat right next to where the water should have been, but the water was drained, so that did take away from some of the ambiance. But it was nice to be outside and actually like out on the pier. We got to watch the Incredicoaster launch so many times, and that was really cool. They also had house-made pickles and an avocado ranch dip that was delicious, so those are both really good points in my book. After our time at lunch, we went on Emotional Whirlwind because we had a really good time on that on our last trip, and we played a lot of Pokemon Go in line because even that had quite a bit of a wait. We finally decided it was time to make our way to Cars Land and enjoy our favorite part of DCA for real, because we really just kind of breezed through the previous night, so we wanted to really have a lot of time over there. Our first stop was at Cozy Cone to get snacks. I got the Buffalo Ranch popcorn. It's so delicious. I get it every trip. It's amazing to experience it. We went and rode Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters for the first time. Adam was a little worried because it spun the last time, so he wasn't sure if he could manage it, but we did do it this time, and it was so much fun. I really liked it. It was really stupid, but it was really fun. Then we did our favorite thing, Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. Mater's Junkyard Jamboree was our first ride ever in Disneyland, so it really holds a special place in our heart, and we make sure to do it every trip. And we had never done the Halloween version, so that was awesome. I always forget how much it throws you around. It's always so much fun, and we always just end up laughing and screaming, and it's a great time. Finally, it was time for Radiator Springs Racers. Always the highlight of a trip, always a favorite. I always am pleasantly surprised at how much better Radiator Springs Racers is than Test Track. And I also love Test Track, but when I'm actually on Radiator Springs Racers, I always forget that it's more thrilling and that it really just is conceptually a much better ride despite being the exact same track. I love that ride so much, one of my favorite rides of all time, and it was really thrilling this time. Like, my butt came out of my seat at one point when we went over one of the hills, and just seeing it with all the Halloween lighting and stuff was really cool, and I'm so glad that we got to do it on yet another trip to Disneyland. And that was our finale to our California Adventure Day. Once we got back to the hotel, we just hung out in bed, played Pokemon Go, and just sort of relaxed and watched TV until it was time to go to sleep, and then it was time for our official Disneyland Park day. I woke up a little before 7 to try and get a Rise of the Resistance boarding group, but I failed, which is okay. We have Rise of the Resistance here. I know it's the exact same. I just really wanted the chance to do it on the West Coast. Disneyland Park was open until 11 p.m., so we weren't really trying to rush over there unless we got a Rise boarding group and had to, because we wanted to stay at Disneyland till closing, so we made sure that was taking priority over getting there early in the morning. A little later, I meandered downstairs to the coffee house and started my day with coffee. Eventually, we headed over to Disneyland and made fun of the terrible Monster Mash cover that kept playing in downtown Disney every time we walked through the whole way over. Our first stop when we got in the park was the Emporium, where I bought this tie-dye Darth Vader shirt that I'm currently wearing, and we also both got Disneyland Spirit jerseys. Then we headed to Tomorrowland and got some food from Pizza Planet. I got the green alien macaroon, which I've wanted for such a long time, and it was so delicious. Probably one of the best macaroons I've ever had. And then we played some Pokemon Go, and eventually we headed over and got in line for Space Mountain. Overall, I know this is an unpopular opinion, I really like Walt Disney World Space Mountain better. Yes, Disneyland's is smoother, but I also think it was significantly less thrilling, and so I like Walt Disney World's better. But it was still really fun, and I'm glad we got to do it. After Space Mountain, since the line was long and honestly it was a little dizzying, we got a Mickey pretzel and some water and just had a snack and relaxed for a minute. And then we headed over to Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, which is a very big favorite of ours. And then we headed to Fantasyland to knock a lot of the classic rides off of our list. Something that was really important to me on this trip was Snow White's Enchanted Wish, because I was a big Snow White Scary Adventures fan before it left Florida, and so I was really excited to see the makeover. It was really cute and super well done. I'm super glad we got to do it. Then we did Mr. Toad, which Mr. Toad is so stupid. Like, I just I love Mr. Toad. It is a dark ride. It is dumb, but for a dark ride, it is so good. Like, I understand why it has a cult following. It's such a good ride. I laugh every time. It's like a meme in a ride. It's so good. I love Mr. Toad. And then we headed to the Matterhorn, which is an absolute must for me because of its scene in Disneyland Fun Songs, which, as I mentioned, I watch before every Disneyland trip, and I've been watching since I was like 4 years old. So I love the Matterhorn. It hurts. I have to take an Advil ahead of time so I don't have a headache afterwards, but it is worth it because it is so much fun, and it really just warms my heart to be on this ride that I've been watching on TV since I was a kid. It was also nighttime at this point, and we had never rode after dark before, so it was a really awesome experience, and honestly, it was a lot spookier and more fun at night. I kind of recommend doing it at night. It was great. After that, we went to Hungry Bear for dinner. I had chicken nuggets, which were so good, and I had a pumpkin cheesecake funnel cake because I'm a pumpkin spice queen and I had to try it, and it was so good. Then, of course, we had to go over to Haunted Mansion Holiday. We're not big Nightmare Before Christmas people, but they do such a good job on Haunted Mansion Holiday, and I wish we did it in Orlando, and it's such a treat whenever we're able to see it. And then our last ride of the night and the Disneyland portion of the trip was Indiana Jones. We stopped at Starbucks on Main Street on the way out for me to get my Disneyland You Are Here mug, and I also got a pumpkin spice latte because it was freezing outside, so it kept me warm. And then when we got back to the room, we watched an episode of Beat Bobby Flay on the Food Network, and I fell asleep. The next morning I woke up, hung out in bed, and watched Friends for a little bit before it was time for us to get up and start packing to leave. Checkout was at 11, so around 10 we started moving, started getting things packed up, and headed downstairs to drop off our bags at Bell Services. Once everything was dropped off at Bell Services, we headed into downtown Disney to hang out for a while until it was time to leave to catch our flight. Eventually, it was time for our lunch reservation, which was at Ballast Point. We both really enjoyed our food there, and we had this really great table on the second story that was against the window, so we were able to people watch. Once we finished our lunch, we went over to Grand Californian and hung out there for a bit, just enjoying the lobby and hanging out. We played more Pokemon Go. We really just had a ton of time to kill until our flight, so we were just kind of lounging around. Right before it was time to head out, we stopped at Salt and Straw, which has become a staple in our Disneyland trips. We got some ice cream and sat outside of Salt and Straw and enjoyed that, and then we headed back to Disneyland Hotel to get our bags and get an Uber to the airport. We took a red eye from California to Florida and had the intention that we would literally get started on our day the second that we got to Florida. So our flight left at like 9:45 California time, and we were supposed to land at like 5:30 Florida time. So when we got on the plane, we watched TV for a little bit. We both did sleep, but not very well and not very long. I don't know why we thought we would actually sleep well on the plane. Once we landed in Orlando, we picked up our checked bag from baggage claim and then headed to where Magical Express was going to pick us up because it was time for the final leg of our honeymoon, which was a stay at Polynesian Village. I'm very happy to say that we finally made it onto an actual Magical Express bus that had the classic character print and the blue cute Magical Express font. Like, we did finally get to ride in one of those. We got to Polynesian at like 6:15 in the morning. And obviously, if you know about Walt Disney World check-in times, check-in is at 3 p.m. So we had a lot of time to kill. I had done online check-in ahead of time and said that we would be there at like 7 a.m., whatever the earliest time was, in hopes that our room would be ready even a little early. We dropped our bags off at Bell Services and went to the lobby just to see if there was any update on our room or anything. So far, obviously our room wasn't ready that early in the morning. So we went and hung out in the lobby for a little bit and talked, and we made a spur of the moment reservation at Grand Floridian Cafe for breakfast. Our Grand Floridian Cafe reservation was for like 7:30, so right around 7 we headed up and got on the monorail at the Polynesian and went over to the Grand Floridian. We had a really lovely breakfast, and our waiter was super nice and talkative. By the time we got back to the Polynesian, it was like 9 o'clock. Our room still wasn't ready, and we were both really tired and like falling asleep in the lobby. Eventually around noon, we were able to head over to our room. It was absolutely beautiful. All the new Moana stuff looks so cool. I loved the wallpaper, and we had a really beautiful balcony that looked out over the pool. Absolutely loved the room. Adam and I both promptly laid down and took a nap because we were exhausted. I will never take a red eye and not immediately have a room available again. It was a stressful morning. It was kind of a waste of a big chunk of a day. I woke up a couple hours later. Adam was still really tired and sleeping, so I went and walked around a little bit. I headed over to Captain Cook's and got the 50th anniversary like reusable resort mug, and I went and did some shopping in the gift shop. A little while later, Adam woke up and we were able to get a walk up at Ohana, so we got ready to head over for dinner. After dinner, we headed back to our room. We hung out and watched Shark Tank for a while in our very comfy Polynesian bed, and then we fell asleep and were ready for the next day. I didn't wake up until almost 11. I ran downstairs, got us breakfast before Captain Cook's was done serving, headed back up, and we had breakfast out on our balcony, and then just hung out for a little bit until it was time for our reservation for Kona Cafe for lunch. We had never been to Kona for lunch before. We've been to Kona for breakfast many times. It's a favorite for us for breakfast, but we had never been for lunch or dinner, so this was something new, and we felt like we were staying at the Polynesian, so we wanted to hit all the restaurants there, and it was really enjoyable. I got a chicken stir-fry dish that was absolutely delicious. We both got Magical Star cocktails served in a pineapple. That was super great. After lunch, we went back to the room and got changed into our bathing suits and headed down to the pool. And we hung out there for a little bit, and we also hung out in that hot tub for a little bit. After about like 45 minutes or so, we knew we needed to get to Magic Kingdom, so we got out of the pool and went upstairs and showered and changed so we could head over to the park. As soon as we got off the monorail and entered the park, we saw Queen Clarabelle on the train station waving and saying hello to everyone, and it was our first time being in Magic Kingdom for the 50th anniversary, which was a really huge moment. We made a beeline for Thunder Mountain because that was an absolute priority ride for us, and we passed the Princess Cavalcade while we were walking over there, and it was just so magical to be there during the 50th anniversary finally after all the time that we've waited for it. The wait for Thunder Mountain wasn't bad, and it was a really great time on the ride, and pretty much right after that, we were like, we should get a spot for Enchantment because people were already getting their seats. So we went and found a spot near the partner statue, our tried and true spot, and camped out for the show. Once we had our spot secured, we did a mobile order from Casey's. I ran over and grabbed our food and brought it back to our spot while Adam kept people blocked off from our area. And then we enjoyed dinner in front of the castle and just waited for the show. And then we finally got to see Disney Enchantment. There are a lot of haters out there. I really, really like Enchantment. It is not as good as Wishes, it's not as good as Happily Ever After, but I do think it's really good. It still made me cry, and I really enjoyed it. Do I wish we could have Happily Ever After back? Yes. Do I wish we could have Wishes back? Absolutely. But we can't, so I'm gonna enjoy what's here. Once Enchantment was over, we headed back to the hotel. We headed over to Trader Sam's Tiki Terrace. The wait for actual Trader Sam's was already closed for the night, so we just went out to the Tiki Terrace. I got a drink called the Spiky Pineapple, which had not been on the menu the last time that I went to Trader Sam's on the East Coast. And then we also mobile ordered fries and some wonton chips from Captain Cook's and just sat out and enjoyed those with our drinks. Once we were done with our drinks, we headed back to the room. We ate snacks in bed and watched TV until it was time to go to sleep. The next morning, we woke up and had breakfast at Ohana, and then we were off to Epcot. Seeing as we were finally DVC members, we were able to go into the Dvc Lounge at the Imagination Pavilion, which was a really big deal for me because I worked at Imagination on my college program in the gift shop, and they were doing the Dvc Lounge renovation during my college program. So it was super exciting for us to actually get to be members and go up there. I love the lounge. I love getting free snacks. So they gave us free pretzels. They had a little Coke Freestyle machine that we could get drinks from. And then it's just like really chill up there with cute furniture, beautiful views of Epcot, and it's just a nice spot. I can't wait to go back. While we were in the DVC Lounge, we got our boarding group for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which was also going to be the first time that we got to go on that. So we were super excited, and I was super happy that we were able to actually get a boarding group for it. The Epcot day was a little rough. Epcot was so hot, and it was so crowded. We kept trying to like stop and get a drink somewhere, and all the lines for drinks were super long, and all the lines for food were super long, and it was very busy, which, I mean, I get it. It was like 2 weeks after the 50th. I just didn't think Epcot was gonna be where everybody was, but it's fine. Our Ratatouille boarding group got called, so we headed over to France. I don't love Ratatouille in general. I don't love Remy. It's one of my least favorite, if not my least favorite Pixar movie. So this ride is not made for me, but of course I wanted to do it because it was something new and exciting, and I know that it's popular in France. It was fine. I didn't love it. I wouldn't wait very long for it. But it's cool. We needed more things in Epcot. I'm very happy that we have something new, and I know that there is a group of people who will very much love this ride, and it's great for families. So No hate from me, it's just not my personal favorite thing. But I'm happy that we got to do it. We really wanted to have a lot of new experiences on our honeymoon, and this was just another one of those. Similarly to our experience with Web Slingers, the ride broke down about halfway through and we were stuck sitting for probably 10 or 15 minutes. Like we were just sitting in our rat hanging out. Because we were stalled out for so long, they let us go on the ride again. So we got to ride Ratatouille twice as well. We had good luck with that this trip. Once we were off of Ratatouille, we decided we should probably get a spot for Harmonious because it was really important to us to have a good spot. So we headed over to the UK, and if you're familiar with the UK and Epcot, there's like a spot where you go down some stairs and there's like a patio that like extends out onto the water. There's only a few people there, so Adam and I stuck out our claim there right against the fence and decided that's where we were going to watch Harmonious. After hanging out there for a little while, we decided we wanted dinner. So we put in a mobile order for Regal Eagle and ate our Regal Eagle in our spots by the water for Harmonious. And again, it was just a really nice, peaceful evening. All the little torches were lit up, which I love the torches. And we just had a nice night on the water at Epcot. And then we saw Harmonious. I don't hate it. I don't love it. There are parts of it that are good. I think for how much Harmonious was hyped up, it was a letdown for me. It just didn't do it. We will still continue to see it. I am a firm believer that a Disney day ends with fireworks. That is what they're there for. And I don't think the day is really completed until you watch fireworks. So it will become a part of our tradition. Way more importantly than Harmonious though, as we were exiting Epcot, we finally got to see the beacon of magic for Spaceship Earth. She is gorgeous. She is bright. She is everything. I am obsessed with Beacon of Magic Spaceship Earth, which should be no surprise. That is not an unpopular opinion. I think everyone that's seen it is obsessed with it. It's gorgeous. They did an incredible job on it. Took the monorail back to the TTC and then the monorail from the TTC back to Polynesian. We headed to our room and had snacks and watched Shark Tank in bed until it was time to fall asleep. And then we woke up and it was sadly and tragically the last day of our honeymoon. I was sad that it was over, but we had one more day of Disney fun to enjoy before it was time to go home. When I woke up, I went downstairs, I got us breakfast from Captain Cook's, and then we hung out and ate it in our room. Once it was 11 and time to leave our room, we took all of our bags down to Bell Services and dropped them off. Then we headed to the bus stop and made our way to Animal Kingdom. We started our day by going to a gift shop and buying a few of the 50th anniversary mystery pin packs. Once we had opened our pins, we headed over to Dinosaur, which is a classic for us and a must-do anytime we're at Animal Kingdom. And so we went over and enjoyed that, and then headed over to Pizzafari and hung out in there and had some lunch. After hanging out at Pizzafari for a little bit, we headed back to the Polynesian because it was really, really important to us to at least go to Trader Sam's once during our stay at the Polynesian, even though we had technically checked out. So we decided we would go back to the hotel and get on the wait list and wait as long as we had to get into Trader Sam's. It was a bit of a wait, but I'm truly so glad we ended our trip with Trader Sam's. It would have felt so weird to have stayed at the Polynesian and not gone to Trader Sam's one time. We had so much fun. We sat at the bar, which we've never done at East Coast Trader Sam's. We got to talk to the couple next to us who were really lovely. We got to engage a lot with the bartenders. It was a really good Trader Sam's visit, honestly. Once we were done with our Nautilus, we said goodbye to everybody at Trader Sam's, got our bags from Bell Services, called our Uber, and came back to our house in Davenport, and that was the end of our honeymoon. If y'all have stuck with me through our entire honeymoon journey, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. In the comments, please give me suggestions for future videos. I'd love to know what you guys would like to see. And for more magical Disney and life content, please don't forget to subscribe. Have a magical rest of your week, and I will talk to you on Saturday. Bye!